from our left to right, and they're all white uniforms. Here's the kick. Kicks it about the middle of the field. Looks like 19, that's Cody Ferrante. He's going to run up the middle. He's got some room. He's got a couple of blockers, cuts to his left, breaks a couple of tackles, uses his speed. There he goes! Touchdown, Calaveras!
A great way to start the homecoming game to get the crowd into it immediately.
What a play. The first time he touches the ball, he takes it to the house for 6 points. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Football with Coach Val. I'm your host, Gil Valtierra, the voice of Calaveras football. With me today in the studio, we've got a big treat ahead of us. We've got the former Youth League president, former parent of a Calaveras varsity quarterback, and the current main guy that all the coaches go to when it comes to film at Calaveras High School, and that's going to be none other than Mr. Rob Dart. Give it for him.
Wow.
You didn't think you were that popular around these parts.
No, I'm not. I think it's great. Very cool, Coach. Very cool.
Welcome, sir. Rob, this episode, we're going to talk about filming football, the importance of filming football, and all the different aspects around that. But before we get started, let's let the audience know who we're talking with. Why don't you tell us about your background? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you play football? And when did you come over to Calaveras County, and how long you been here?
Yeah, Coach. Hey, thank you. And again, thanks for not only everything that you're doing now for Calaveras football, but everything that you've done. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Maybe some of our new listeners don't know how long you've been involved with this program, but it's been a long time.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Briefly, I moved around a lot as a kid. I grew up in Colorado, moved to California. And let me tell you something, the difference of players from a small town in the high country of Colorado to the East Bay and Livermore. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a difference there.
A little bit. Yeah. So, the football career was cut short, but I did enjoy playing baseball and a little bit of hockey. And I finished my high school in Livermore. The funny thing is I had some mutual friends in Livermore that had friends up here. And so in the late 80s and 90s, I actually came to some Calaveras football games.
Okay.
It was crazy. So I saw Scotty Nordahl and Boitano and a couple of the Eric Nordahl and Sean Newby.
Nice.
I saw those guys play for a little while, and little did I know, 20 years later, I'd be volunteering for the squad. So
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Now, were you Livermore High or Granada guy?
Granada guy,
Okay.
Matador.
Okay.
So yeah, it's still a very, very tight knit football community down there. And I'm sure, with everyone that you've met over the years, you have friends down there and in that division, in that region.
Oh yeah.
So, Yeah. Haven't been down there in a while, but
at some point you transitioned from there, got over to Calaveras County. How long have you been in Calaveras County now?
Yeah. So, been here for 20 years, married to my amazing wife of 27 years and 2 great kids. So yeah, we've been here for a bit.
That is a long time. That's great.
Yeah.
Now let's walk through your involvement with Calaveras football, and let's start from the beginning, because I know at one point you were running the youth league. You were president of the youth league. Your son Nolan was the starting varsity quarterback at the high school at one point.
Yeah.
I think your daughter pretty recently, I've seen her name floating around there as a pretty prolific track and field athlete.
Yes, sir. She's doing her thing. So like a lot of volunteers and parents in Calaveras, they coach because there's a need, whether it's soccer or baseball or whatever it is. And in 2011, I got involved, which back then, as you know, was the MILAC. It wasn't even the MVFL yet. So volunteered, basically did whatever they needed me to do. There was a strong presence of volunteers back then. But and then one thing led to another. Was part of the development of the MVFL, became the AD, became the VP, and then ran it for a bit and met a lot of great people. Look, those volunteers, those coaches, what they're doing now for that feeder program for Manny and his staff is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what they're doing to take it to the next level. Coach Q and Montgomery took over for me, and I'm proud of that, because those guys are really doing a great job.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing fantastic, from the uniforms to the development. The numbers are up, and that's good for not only Calaveras, but everybody in the Tri-County area.
Yeah,
it's
definitely,
great.
definitely. So now you go through that, and then
Mhm.
Nolan, your son, he goes through the high school, and he played.
Yeah.
Tell us about that time, and that
Yeah.
had been kind of fun, being involved with the program and then watching your son play.
It was great. And, I volunteered and did some things, never really coached him. That was kind of a thing. I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
So I'm proud of him, and he made his mark, because you coached him,
Mm-hmm.
along with Coach Clark and Weatherby, and of course Mosa and Anderson, and just everybody else that for the most part is still part of the organization now. And he worked his tail off, and again, fantastic coaching. They grinded him, and he grinded right back. And like I said, he made his mark and got all league and Lions game and that whole thing. So
Yeah.
really proud of him. But like you said, my daughter now, both these kids must get all their athletic ability from mom, because Evie, she's a senior now, and she cheers too. So she's been cheering since she was 6, and she's the captain of the varsity squad now. So really proud of that. And then, she's doing her thing with track and field, which again, we couldn't be prouder of her with Coach Averett and Coach Harrison right now. So I'm a track dad now.
You bet. Yeah. Well, she might have gotten the athletic ability from mom, but looking at how she's done, looking how great Nolan's done, it takes 2 to tango. Both of you as parents have done a fantastic job. So kudos to you for that.
I appreciate that, Coach.
Tell me now, not just now, but for a while now, you've been the eye in the sky for Calaveras High, right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit how that's going now, because you're filming all of the games for the high school.
No, and it is. It started with just a need, right? They just they needed someone to come in, and then the next thing you know, I just started doing it on the regular. I started learning how to properly film, because you don't watch the game, you film the game.
Right.
And it was one of those things where I just kind of took over. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. And shout out to my guy Jesse. He helped me last year, and I got a text from him a couple days ago. He's coming back. But anybody that's listening, whether you're in the youth league or you've got a kid that's in high school that maybe doesn't play football but wants to help, we need volunteers, because it takes at least 3 of us to do this every Friday. So.
Yeah, and I'll personally vouch, and we're going to go over in a little bit here why this is so crucial, and why this is so important. This is not, for 24 years that I coached high school football, I tried to teach people and these young players that the way we watch film as football people is not the same way other people watch football.
No.
We don't grab a bucket of popcorn and go, okay, put the game on, right? We'll watch one play 50 times every which way but Sunday.
That's it.
And 3 hours later, not even be halfway through the film. So we watch film a completely different way. And when coaches have to watch that kind of way in that film, they need it filmed a particular type of way.
No doubt.
That's not necessarily maybe the way the casual viewer wants to see the football game.
And there's a couple guys, Coach Anderson, if he does not like a certain angle for a certain quarter, he'll let me know. And that's what I want, because, you think you're boxing it out and you're getting back judge to back judge and everything, and then the end zone. But sometimes, it's not perfect, and I try to be perfect.
You mean Coach Anderson isn't shy about letting you know what he wants? That's so totally shocking to me.
No, walking around in his flip flops.
Well, let's talk about a little bit, Rob. I want to talk about the history of film, because film has come such a long way in a pretty short period of time, if you really think about it. But it's just really come a long way. Back when I played high school, which was a very long time ago, we didn't watch a whole lot of film, I remember, as a player, but every week on Monday, we'd sit down, we'd have a meeting, and our coach would give us this handout, and it was like a handwritten, all these plays and formations, and it was a scouting report. And, every week, we'd, like clockwork, we got that scouting report. It showed what the other team was going to run. So I'm sure the coaches were watching film, but they didn't do it a whole lot with the players, and probably because it wasn't very easy, right? It was pretty cumbersome. But those of you from back in the day remember watching anything in high school, like the health movie or any of the time you had to watch something in the classroom, you'd hear from 3 buildings away that cart coming down the hallway on those little rickety wheels, right? And the big Super 8 wheel film.
Yeah.
And I think you made the perfect sound. What did it sound like when it was going?
The chatter is like click, 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 click.
Yeah. That's what you knew was on. Like someone would yell, turn off the lights, right? So you could see it.
Right.
And so that's the film that we would see.
That's it.
And then, from there, you progressed a little bit, like, okay, technology came around, and then you had like, beta and VHS. VHS watching film was cumbersome because a lot of the times when you paused it, which by the way was like super techie, it was like, whoa, look at, I could pause it, no way. Yeah. But you'd pause the film and you wouldn't get a clear picture. Right. You'd pause it and it'd be kind of snowy or sometimes you're like, what is this? Rewind, go back. And it just wasn't like conducive to being able to see different things on it. Yeah. And then, of course, DVD came around, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. Now the picture's clear. I can pause it and see it. Yeah. But still, it was kind of antiquated compared to today, right?
Yeah.
I also remember exchanging film with other teams and other coaches, and we literally had to physically, like, I'd have that VHS tape, on my person, put it in the car, go drive 50 miles to some obscure little pizza joint out in the middle of nowhere to go meet the next opposing coach so we could exchange VHS tapes. And then we'd go drive back home and then put that in the VCR and start preparing for our next opponent.
Some 4-way stop down in Waterford or whatever.
Yes. And it was just like, okay, there's got to be a better way, right? I mean, you're doing all this driving. Think about the mileage, the wear and tear on the car, the gas, and then the film wasn't even that good,
right?
You'd get it, and it's like back then you also had, like what you said. It's important of how you film it. Sometimes people didn't know what they were doing. You'd get a film that looked like it was from the telescope up in space that was so far away. And you're like, I can't even see, like, if what jersey is the number is that guy? You can see nothing.
Or they were watching the game, and every time there was something that happened, the camera pulled away because their eyes went up to the field, and you just naturally move your hand when your eyes go up. So,
right. Yeah. So there was a lot of just old stuff that was just like, not good. I remember a coach told me, I think it was Coach Anderson who told me he remembers they'd grab that old Super 8, projector, film, and he'd have to cut it up physically with like scissors. Okay, that was an offensive play, and cut that piece of film out, and they'd have like shoe boxes, offense, defense, and you'd throw that one in a shoe box and you'd separate all the film that way. And then you'd go back and start splicing all that film together, put it on a new reel so that the coaches would have, okay, here's all the offense and here's all the defense. You want to talk about some time consuming.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. So
now you mentioned earlier, the way coaches wanted film. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, it really depends by position. But the sideline view is always great. You want the top of the helmets on the sideline. I know this is probably, not super interesting, but it's true. It's part of the whole situation. And you want side judge to side judge. You want to see the whole play. And then the end zone camera, again, my defensive coaches love that, right? And they love to see how things develop and then tendencies, because if they're looking at an opponent and they look at, the play over and over and over again, then that's what we're trying to do, is not only evaluate our players, but also evaluate your opponent. And those angles and those views are key. They're very important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then the end zone part, the camera for those of you are at home. So that sideline view is the traditional view that you normally watch on Saturday and Sundays on television. You watch a football game. You're watching a sideline view. You could see both teams kind of like if you were on the sideline raised up a little bit. But that end zone view, explain that one a little bit.
I can, and if you want, I can go over the whole process.
Yeah, please.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So, what we do now is, because what Coach Mosa did And a lot of the volunteers and the fundraisers, a couple of years ago, we were able to get the sideline huddle, which is phenomenal. It's an amazing tool, and a lot of high schools have it if they have the funds to purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So it consists of a sports camera. So you have to buy a decent sports camera that can capture things in low light, because not every football stadium is illuminated the way that we would hope.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also based on if you're in a lift, if you're in the stands, if you're above the box, or you're in the box. So sometimes, as you know, these new schools, I'm in a lift. Right.
Yeah.
They go rent one and I'm way up there and people are laughing at me. Go higher. I'm like, no, this is not okay. But there's an actual case. It's connected to the press box unit. So that's what it is. There's two cases, and you have an iPad associated with that. And you need a cameraman for that one location. And then back to your point, that there's an end zone tower. And that tower is set up usually 10 yards behind, or sometimes just a little bit behind the goalposts,
Mm-hmm.
clear one side or the other, because many times the home team or the visitor will have one side. So you work together on that. And then it telescopes up, and you have another camera there, which is controlled by a remote down on the ground. So, and that is connected to the field level end zone huddle. So, and all of this is wireless, and you don't need Wi-Fi because it has its own Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So it talks to each other, and it connects to your high school's huddle account. So that end zone is huge, and it records both at the same time. And so once a play happens, I save it. And within 3 or 4 seconds, it goes down to the devices on the sideline. And there's typically another iPad. Usually the head coach has that, or if it's on defense, the DC.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's you can connect up to 5 other devices. So a lot of the other coaches, position coaches, they'll either have their own iPad or they'll connect to a phone. I know Coach Clark likes to look at his phone. He'll just look, and it's an amazing tool because they can look at right now. They can look at it right now.
Yeah, I mean, what used to be halftime adjustments is now we're adjusting after that series is over. Like, you go to a player and you ask him, hey, is that guy lined up inside of you or is he outside of you? Why is that runner getting through there, right?
Yeah.
And you can't always depend on a player telling you the truth.
It's funny you should say that, Coach, because a lot of times they'll come over and they'll say a certain situation, and then all you have to do is pull that up and just look at them, and then, okay, there it is. Now you can get on with that immediate coaching, because a lot of times, coaches happen Monday through Thursday. You're not doing a lot of coaching on Friday night, but except for adjustments. But you can now.
Right.
You can with this technology. So
it's amazing that we're able to just do it on the fly, where you just have to wait till halftime or wait till sometimes after the game, right? Until we see the film, or
sometimes days later, based on how you filmed it, whether it was on a chip, whether it was on a mini DVD, a DVD, or like you said, the old school film.
And so now this is being automatically uploaded as it's going
right now
in real time.
And that's if everything, because it is still technology. So, there are those moments, and it happens that a play or two gets missed because of technology. You have to have power in the end zone. Not everybody has power. So I bring a generator to every game every road game, because I don't know. And so it's like, it's just one of those things you want to make sure, because the coaches, look, this is a very small piece of the puzzle, right? I show up an hour and a half before JV. I set up, I film, I do my job, and then I hand everything over to Coach Mosa, and he says thanks, and I go home. These guys are grinding. They're grinding right now. They're putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week with their team, but it is an essential part of it, but
definitely an essential part.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's really impressed me about this new technology now, besides, being able to coach kind of real time right on there. What it did compared to the old school way of doing it, it eliminated and made physical delivery of film extinct, because now I have the whole film already on my computer, and through the Huddle website, at the end of that game on Friday night at midnight, coaches are already exchanging film from the game they just played with each other via the internet.
That's right.
Here's my film. Oh, thank you. Here's my film in return. Now both of those coaches. So Saturday morning, you're already looking at film. You didn't have to go drive to that pizza joint 50 miles away.
Yeah, no doubt.
You already have the film.
Yeah.
You could just get on it, get to work, start prepping for the next game. That's an amazing invention.
Well, and you know how Coach Mosa works. He'll do it till 2 or 3 in the morning. I mean, he's just, win or lose, he grinds, and you can save it. So you can have years and years of data of your opponents and these different squads and things that, maybe a play that had worked with a different group of athletes 10 years ago. You want to roll it out in 2025. Maybe it's not on your play sheet anymore. Well, when was that? You have a conversation, you can go back and look at it.
That's another great point, because old school way, I remember my office in one of my offices where I was coaching, and my shelves in the office, really, a couple books here and there, but they were filled with VHS tapes with those labels on the side that says us versus so-and-so and had a year on them. And then you'd have to go, hey, remember when we played them 2 years ago? They had that one kid. Yeah. And you'd go looking and sifting through the film and try to find that tape.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you can just pull that up on your computer, have like a game from 10 years ago.
And you nailed it. And you can save it as offense and defense. It automatically saves the sideline or end zone. And if it's a great play, whether it's O or D, you can put a star by it. You can add notes. So as you're reviewing it, you're saving data for whether you're going to review it with your coaches, your players. And then you can, when you share that film, that's just for your staff, so you build these relationships with the other coaches, because everybody, with the technology now, everybody knows.
Yeah.
But
we know what you're going to do, but now it's all about execution.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things that I was impressed with Huddle when I was using it pretty consistently was the tools that are built into the system, right? So not only can I, exchange film online and view the film and pause it and slow motion it and rewind it and go back to the beginning again and all that stuff, but like you said, now the ODK, offense, defense, kicking, right? Now I can segregate all of those plays. So as they say, a defensive coordinator, I don't care, what their defense is. I care about what their offense is.
Right.
So just show me every offensive play from that game.
That's right.
So now I got a list of just those plays. Yeah. I could draw out all those plays. I could know their formations. I could just totally put all my time and energy into those things.
Yeah.
And having those tools is amazing, because no more shoebox and splice of film, right?
No more tape with the fuzzy pause button.
The pause button and all this. So none of that stuff I have to worry about anymore.
Right.
So that's pretty impressive.
And it's not just the coaches too. I mean, these technology now, the players, the vested players, a lot of times those seniors, they get it. They're putting time in, and how many hours they're spending on Huddle.
That's a good point. Because
if somebody says, yeah, coach, I watched it twice. It says here you logged on for 3 minutes, kiddo. No, you didn't. So, you can't really get away with bending the truth. If they'll know that you spent an hour looking at film, and the ones that are vested, the ones that want to get better, they do.
Right.
They watch the
I forget. I think during the youth camp, I was talking with one of the coaches, and we talked about watching film and how it's kind of changed the way coaches have to coach, even, right? Because if now you have young athletes that are spending a lot of time watching film, the coach, who's supposed to know technically a little bit more than this athlete, right? He's the coach. If he's not watching film, now he's got, a little bit of a discrepancy here when you got the athletes going, coach, that's not what I saw. They're doing this and doing that. So the coach now is kind of under pressure that, hey, if this kid's on watching all this film and seeing all this, I better be on top of my game and watch all the film as well.
No doubt. Success, a lot of times, youth coaches, respectfully, they can just have a lot of talent. And at that level, you can win a lot of games with talent. But most of the time, it's your coaching, it's your schemes, it's your studying, and it's not reacting to what they bring. It's planning and knowing what they're going to bring, and then you're ready for it. So, and that's the case at all levels. At our level, the youth level and the high school level. Imagine at the next level. I mean, those guys, they have millions of dollars vested in these AV systems and a staff of people that cut and do film, because 80% of what they do is not on the field. it's in the film room.
Right.
So
That's why you see titles now like quality assurance,
yeah,
defensive QC, and all this stuff.
Right.
And you're like, what?
Who's this guy?
You know, I thought, where's the linebacker coach at? Oh, we don't have one of those.
Right, right. That's it.
No, there's with the huddle, and you mentioned about knowing, being able to see the hours that players are watching. For an athlete's perspective, that young athlete's also able to go in and go, hey, that was my 70-yard touchdown run that I ran.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a little star by that one. And then as the season progresses, even start to build a highlight film from all the starred plays, right?
That's
put
correct.
together a highlight film. So now the tools allow even the athlete to say, hey, I'm going to put together a little highlight film and send that off to college coaches,
Right.
and send that to their email, or send that, to whatever it may be.
No doubt.
And now all of a sudden, all their ability is being shown, to some school that out in Iowa that maybe wouldn't have come all the way to Calaveras to watch them play.
100%. And because of where we play, a lot of times these amazing athletes and even the developing players, right? They can put together something that is amazing for whatever level is next, right? It doesn't matter. You're a JUCO guy, you're a D1, D2 guy, D3 guy. You're still a 1%er, and you need to be seen, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, and creating these profiles is huge, and talking to the right people is huge.
Right.
So you nailed it. That's 100% correct.
Well, the next part I want to talk about is what I would consider the importance of film. We talked about the history, all the old stuff. We talked about the new stuff now, and all the capabilities we have now with the new film, with technology. By the way, it's amazing to me that you're getting these people to volunteer, because it seems like with all this new technology, you got to have IT people. You got to have people with all this technology to go, oh yeah, hold on, let me reboot the server and update your this and that. And see, I don't even know, because I don't even know what the terms are.
Yeah. Well, Huddle, they do a good job. They try to make it stupid simple.
Update your drivers. There you go.
Yeah. Turn it off and is it plugged in? And once you do it once, it's typically okay. Sometimes the line of sight, can get in the way based on, where the other opponent's equipment is. And you got to not usually fight for the space isn't the right word, but you just want to make sure that you got that point to point rolling. So, yeah.
I always had a saying. In fact, I remember back in the day at the end of the season, you have the little, awards banquet and ceremony with the team and all that stuff. And we gave a plaque to our film guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the saying on it, said, "The eye in the sky does not lie."
That's it. I love that.
And that's the saying we would always use, because you'd always get athletes come back. I blocked him, coach. No, you didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I did. You go back to the film.
Yeah.
There you are.
There
There's him. What happened? And he goes, maybe I was watching a different play. I missed him on that play.
Yeah, no, that's it. You got it, man.
The eye in the sky does not lie.
I love that.
Let's talk a little bit about the game planning. We mentioned a little bit about that. You said, Coach Mosa, spending hours and hours and hours looking at that kind of stuff. What I found that was interesting for me is, once, like, I would draw up, I was pretty tedious. I learned this from Coach Clark. I would draw up every single offensive play that team ran last Friday. Every play. I would draw it up. And so I'd have these little sheets. They had all the little X's and O guys on them.
Yeah.
I'd draw up who blocked who. I'd have the offense, defense. I'd know, and I'd watch that same film multiple times, same play, one play, at least 22 times to see what every player did on that same play, right? And what happens is in that process, as you start to do that, things reveal themselves to you that you don't recognize, or even initially even think that that's what I'm looking for. You're going in and just saying, hey, I'm just going to draw up their plays. But then they kind of go, oh, look at this. And they reveal themselves to you without you realizing tendencies. Like, hey, wait a minute. Every single time they're in this formation, this guy does. So then I go make a note, right? And it's like all of a sudden. So it's amazing to me with this film watching, those types of things that kind of reveal themselves to the, if you're paying close enough attention,
Right.
there are things there that will reveal themselves to you.
And that kind of, we are so lucky in this community to have coaches, volunteers that when they watch film, they watch it from a coach's perspective, like you opened with. They're not watching the game, right?
Right.
They're doing exactly what you just said, because and I'll find myself next to certain coaches, even at the youth level, and they'll look, and even players at the youth level. And did you see that? Right? Did you see that? Yeah, I saw it. And they'll look at me like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. What?
Right.
Yeah. See what?
What? Because they know.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and again, you nailed it. Clark he's a film rat, and he just grinds, right? And it's a big part of the success that we have is because of the ability to game plan for a certain opponent and put your players in a position to succeed.
Yeah.
Right. That's the most important thing. They might be bigger, they might be faster, they might have a cooler walkout song,
Right.
but then you go in there like we did, in the first playoff game last year. They had an amazing looking team and we beat them.
Yeah.
So,
Calaveras is not going to be unprepared.
No. And you can only put the players on the field that you have. And so sometimes some years are more difficult, but using that film, right, sometimes makes it easier because then you play to your players' strong points. You already know this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no doubt.
Well, I used to like watching Clark, and we'd be at practice, and, coach would say, well, what about this? And Clark would go, they ran 57 offensive plays last week. They only ran that once. The last two films prior to that, they didn't run it at all. So one time out of 150 plays, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes going over what might happen on the one play. We're going to focus on what they do. And I'm like, all right, you can't argue with the numbers.
Turn the page. Yeah.
You can't argue with the numbers, but he would know. He would
Yeah.
know. Like, there wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not sure. We're not. Nope. He'd already watched it. He already knows how many times that team ran it, how often they run it.
Right. And, we all, whether it's pregame or, you talk to these guys, so you got a plan. What do you got? Right. No, we got it. They never talk about it because that's the other thing. The data that you get, you have to keep close to the chest, keep it in the room, keep it with your players. So, yeah.
Well, and I think from a coaching perspective, I felt like when I really learned how to do a good job of watching film, because it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. When I was a young coach back in the 90s, I watched film, but I didn't do as good a job of it as I did later in my career, right?
Yeah.
So the better job you do at watching film, the better coach you're going to be, and the better prepared your players are going to be, and the more success you're going to have. And so obviously with the new technology today, that's given a lot of tools for these coaches to be really prepared, which is just going to help their players be more prepared,
Right.
which is just, it just all trickles down. Then all of a sudden it gives them more opportunity to get seen by other schools to go play at the next level.
Yeah.
So you just the importance of film, I cannot say enough. So when you say, hey, I need volunteers, for you out there listening or thinking about it, man, think about being a part of something that's that crucial. It's that important.
100%. It really, really is. And, I try to commit to every Friday. There is a couple Fridays that I'm going to really have to lean on my students, and I would love to have either a coach from CJR or someone that is going to get familiar with the equipment, even if it's just for 1 or 2 games. Right. So, because I can't let these guys down. I can't. You cannot not have film. Now, could they do like if something happened and we lost a whole half of football? Sure, they'd be able to, hopefully get that half from the opposing team, but it's just not the same. You're not getting it right now, and it's not exactly what you're looking for. And on that note, I think other programs, I don't think they take film as seriously as we do.
It's a good point.
Some of them do.
Right.
Some of them take it extremely serious. And typically, it isn't the size of the school, it's the successful program.
Right.
It really is. So, we've got some new teams in the league, and they're going to learn that you can't have a kid on his iPhone, up in the booth filming. You need to have.
You got to put some investment into it. Yeah.
Yes, coach, you do.
Yeah. Come on. the importance of it, I can't say enough. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I have a note on here about the importance of film that says, very rarely is any coach ever surprised because of film. And, all good coaches watch a lot of film, so they're very rarely surprised by anything a team does. So what it comes down to is just execution, right? We know what they're going to do, who's going to execute better, and if we know what they're going to do, but then still can't stop it, that has nothing to do with X's and O's and formations and everything that we saw and studied on film.
Right.
It has something to do with other things.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know where you're supposed to be. You didn't get there. How come?
Yeah.
Is he afraid to stick his nose in there? Do I need to find a different player that's not afraid to stick his nose in there?
Right.
Now all of a sudden you have different issues, and that's half the battle. Half the battle is understanding, okay, is it a scheme? We were in the we were lined up wrong, and that's what beat us, or no? We knew it was coming. We did everything correctly, but we still didn't execute. What's going on? We have to fix it there.
No, and you've been doing this long enough. There has been games that you lost, but after you look at the film, you applaud the room because you did everything as you were coached. You were in the right position. That guy just had 60 pounds on you, or that guy was faster, or whatever that is. And I've seen coaches get emotional, and the kids don't get it. Like, coach, he's not going to be happy with us on Monday when we watch film. And I've seen the opposite.
Yeah,
like, you guys all did your job.
Yeah, we did everything we were supposed to do,
and it didn't work. And they were able to. They had the gut feeling on Friday, but then when they cut it on Saturday and Sunday, it really kind of was right in front of them. Because the eye in the sky doesn't lie. Yeah.
So now that we talked about the importance of film and coaches looking at film, trying to find tendencies, knowing their formations, what they like to run, who their best players are, who's going to carry. Like, I used to go, okay, this guy got the ball, this guy got the ball. All right, they ran 57 offensive plays, and 40 of them went to this guy. He carried the ball 40 of the 50. So obviously we need to know where this guy's going because he got the ball 40 times, right?
Yeah.
So those types of things are going to be important factors. And this next part I like to call what we call gaming in film, right? And so we got lots of different stuff now that'll go on. So now that all the coaches have technology, we know the importance of film, we know how far we've come. But now it's like, all right, now how do we start twisting this thing around to use it to our advantage? Yeah. We know that they're going to be watching film. We know what they know that we know. Now let's mess with them, right?
Yeah.
So the game in the film. So I remember I had coaches send a film over where each play started after the snap had already occurred.
Oh, yeah.
So literally it was just like a run through of the play was already started, and when that play ended, the next play had already started and then continue. So we couldn't get a pre-snap, let's look at their formation, nothing. It was just like they cut the film to say, screw you guys, have this, good luck, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, these sons of, and so sometimes, not everybody's a great sportsman, right? Like some people are like, hey, screw you, here's this.
Yeah.
I've had film guys where I gave the film up back in the day, sent, the VHS tape. We couldn't meet. So I overnight FedExed it to their school. He said he'd do the same. Never got it.
Didn't get nothing.
Never got nothing. He never sent it.
Right.
So I showed up on Friday and we laid it on him. We put like 60. Yeah, don't send me the film. We put like 63 on him.
There you go. You're welcome. No, and yeah, I love that, the gaming, because, the average parent or the average person listening to this awesome podcast. And again, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. I know a lot of people in the community do, and the other schools do as well, because I know they're listening too.
Right.
And they wouldn't know that this is still happening. I mean, yeah, it still happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's you, at least I know from the schools up here, some of the bigger schools, even the smaller mountain schools, we're a pretty, close knit, tight community. We've all been coaching for a very long time. We wouldn't do that kind of stuff to each other. But sometimes you get into the bigger inner cities where you're like, I'm probably never going to see this guy again or not play them for who knows when.
Right.
They can do God knows what
Yeah, the non-league guys, the one-offs, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you just never know.
Right.
But and those were back in the day. I think nowadays, maybe now it's like, okay, maybe less of that going on. But I'll tell you what is still going on is setting your opponent up, right? The old rope-a-dope with like Muhammad Ali, right? You know, I'm spinning my right hand, but I hit you with my left, and and kind of one of those deals.
Yeah.
I remember a story where setting up an opponent. We were playing, I forget what school, and I was calling the offensive plays for the team, and we ran sweep pretty good, right? So we were a good sweeping team. We ran sweep pretty good, and so we had a reverse off of that sweep, so that everybody was flying to sweep, and then at the time, our receiver out there was Anthony G. Gregorio, and he was fast, right?
Yeah.
Anthony G. He was fast, and so we had set him up to where we'd fake sweep to one end, but then it'd be a reverse. That sweeper would give it to Anthony. He'd take off the other side and do his thing, and it was a big play for us because the defense was swarming towards sweep. So the week before Sonora, which was going to be our big game, Sonora was a big game, and we ran that play. And I knew they were going to dissect that film. I knew that they knew we have to watch out for that play. And this is earlier when I was talking about they know that I know that you know what we're going to do.
Right.
And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it can bite you. And in this case, it bit them because what we did that week is we put in fake reverse. So at a perfect time in the game, I felt like this is the moment, we called fake reverse, so it looked like reverse. There he went. It was going to be the reverse. Only the sweeper kept it instead of giving it to the reverse guy.
So they all bit.
And you could hear the Sonora defenders as soon as the receiver left to go take the reverse. Reverse, reverse, and they all go swarming across the field. I mean, they chase the ball, the runner, not the ball. And so the sweeper hid the ball, and it was Anthony G. He had hid the ball by his hip, slowed down like a jog, being kind of like, chugged his motor, being a little lazy, just like a runner would if he had already handed it off to somebody else.
Right.
And hook, line, and sinker, that entire defense yelled reverse, chase a ghost runner that didn't have the ball.
Right.
Then at the right moment, Anthony turned on the burners and took off down the sideline with the football in his hand all the way to the end zone for a touchdown.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was awesome.
Look, Coach, it's standing up. The hair on the arm's standing up. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
And all of that was film.
Yeah.
All of that was attributed to the film. I knew that they watched the film. I knew they had good coaches. I knew that they were going to know that we knew how to do that play and that we would probably run it against them. Yeah. And so we suckered them and said, "Oh, got you."
That's it. No, it's just awesome. That's a beautiful thing.
There's other areas where we used to call it sucker, where inside linebackers are taught to kind of read those guards, right? And if that guard pulls, he's pulling for a reason.
Yeah. Right.
Here comes the ball. And so those backers go flying right away, come downhill, come after, get to that ball carrier. And teams that are well coached, watch film a lot, those guys are going to fly as soon as those guard pulls.
Yeah.
So what you would do offensively is run sucker, which is pull the guard, but then just give it straight up the A gap. And guess what? The backer's flying out of there. He's going after the guard, and now it's wide open up the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you did is you suckered the linebacker into believing that's what we were doing. And then what's he tell his coach? His coach goes, "Where were you at? Coach, the guard pulled. You told me to."
Everybody was yelling.
Yeah. You told me to go where So there's lots of different things now with film that you can use like chess pieces
100%.
and kind of set up, especially like you have to be kind of cognizant as a coach of the plays that are being run late in the game when the team's already got the win secured, right? Because then it's like, okay, those plays that they're running at that point, they know the other team's going to get the film for next week.
Yeah.
And is that really something they would run, or are they just running it to set something up for next week?
Well, and isn't it, somewhat comical when, sometimes the coaches, they get a little razzing maybe from some of find fans about the way that they're calling the second half of a game or the final quarter. And it's when they know they have it in hand, it's for the next game.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't for this game.
Right.
And sometimes, they want to get the 2s and 3s in. I get that. That's football.
Sure.
But the play calling and, he had an opportunity to do this, this, and this. And why didn't you do this? We practiced it all week because we're going to do it next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there's what you're doing is being put on film.
Yeah.
And so you're cognizant of, is that going to be beneficial for us or not beneficial?
Right.
So I think you had a little bit of a story about film and some success from it.
We chopped it up a little bit, and a game near and dear to my heart was in 19, arguably the best game of the year, right? Undefeated Amador at their house. CBS was there. It was the Friday night game of the week. It was packed.
Nice.
Multiple radio stations were there. So it was a big game, right? And it was just a big game.
Mm-hmm.
And Amador was heavily favored. And they had Gunner and all those guys, great kids, great coaches.
Yeah.
Right. And they cut the film at halftime. And then, Clark saw something. Whichever coach it was, but they saw something. And the third play of the third quarter, Moore busted one off. And it was because of the blocking by Anthony's brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Villegas, and boom, it just opened up 63 yards, boom, scored, tie game, no more. Right.
Right.
And that was huge. That was a big part of the win. And, some other things we're seeing too. And you guys switched to man, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the second half on defense, you went to man. So, and that helped secure it at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's just so much that film does that's, back to how it's crucial, how it's important.
Yeah.
It prepares coaches to be prepared so they can do a better job as a coach for young athletes. It prepares young athletes in improving their game and understanding, their responsibilities. I always told young players that, when you watch film, don't watch the whole play. Watch where you're going to be lined up. Watch the guy that's going to line up in front of you. Only just watch, focus in on that part of it, just only your part. And look at your part, not the whole thing,
That's it.
And you almost have to teach them how to watch film.
Yeah. I think we're all still learning. I mean, and guys will ask me when I'm up top. That's what I always call them, up top. What happened there? I don't know. I don't know because I didn't watch the play. Sometimes if there's a break or I'll click back and I'll answer their question, but typically I don't know. If I'm watching, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
I just need to box it out and save it and get it down to them.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a tough job for me because I want to watch it. Right.
Yeah.
And I still watch, there's when I watch TV and I'll watch a game and sometimes my wife will get annoyed. She's like, how did you know that? What,
right. Watch this. Watch
right.
this.
or, I'm pausing it and rewinding it. It's like, It's supposed to be live TV. Knock it off. You're not doing film anymore.
Yeah.
But I'll watch a play and, the ball snap and a second later I'll go, oh, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then a few seconds later, everybody in the room starts cheering. It was a touchdown. She's like, how did you know that so quick? And it's like, I was watching only the line. Right, I wasn't watching nothing else. I was just only watching the line. As soon as I saw the hole, as soon as I saw they gave it to the back right through that hole, I go, see ya.
Yeah.
It's wide open.
There it is.
Yeah.
No, that's it. And look, we're not perfect. I've made mistakes and, we don't do sound. That's another thing I really didn't talk about. It used to have sound, but it was just annoying and you'd have to mute it. We don't do any sound. You don't need to hear anything.
No. And the coaches don't want to hear a lot of what's going on.
They don't want that. So sometimes I still really care about Calaveras football. And so if it's an exciting game and if I know the player or the players, and as time progresses, I'm knowing less and less of them, Coach. But, there'll be a play like what you opened with Ferrante, and I'm trying to stay focused, but my teeth are grinding, and I'm just cheering for him because he had an amazing play.
Right.
And sometimes I'll pull off, and then I'll say, "Sorry, guys," but I got most of it.
Right. Well, and sometimes, in all the years I've done it, we'll sit there and we're watching film, and then you can hear throw the damn ball, coach. Or like you hear some, whoa, who said that?
Yeah. Right. And that, there's a little bit of that too. Just real quick is these most opponents are very respectful. Like the Rippin guy, I can't remember his name. I see him once a year. He's an old school guy. He's the nicest guy, and he just sits there and he does his job. And I shake his hand, and I thank you for everything. And Rippin, they have a wonderful program, and they have a lot of coaches. They always have a lot of coaches, and 6, 7 of them are up top every game, and they get a little rowdy. I don't say anything when I'm up there.
Right.
I don't. I keep quiet. I don't say anything. I don't get myself emotionally involved as much as possible when things can get heated, because it does happen. That's the best way to do it. Just get up there and
just do your job, get it done.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, Rob, we're just about out of time here. I want to thank you for coming out and taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and do this episode with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Want to thank you on behalf of all of the Calaveras football community. We're indebted to you. Obviously, we went over the importance of film. And so for someone like you that has the kind of experience like you, that's been around the game long enough, that understands technology, understands the game, understands what the coaches want, you get it as far as how it's so important, why it's a crucial part of the entire football program. The old saying is it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
It takes good coaching. It takes some athletes. It takes the community.
Yep.
It takes finances. It takes technology. It takes people like you and filming. And so being that another cog in the wheel, thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate you. So thank you.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here, and fantastic.
Absolutely. So, hey, thank you all out there for listening. I want to remind you to follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Football with Coach Val. Also want to bring up important dates coming up. August 22nd is week 1. Bradshaw Christian, the section title runner-up, will be at Frank Meyer Field on week 1 to take on your Calaveras Redhawks. It's going to be a big, huge game. Yours truly and Greg Stark will be bringing you all the play-by-play action on KVGC Radio, 1340 and 96.5. Be sure to tune in. If you're in the stands, bring your smart speaker with you, bring your phone with you, listen to the call while you're watching it live. It's going to be, I'm sure, a playoff atmosphere right off the back in week 1. So that's going to be an exciting time. So August 22nd, be there. And until next time, Bob, thanks again.
Hey, thank you.
You bet. We are out. From our left to right, and they're all white uniforms. Here's the kick. Kicks it about the middle of the field. Looks like 19. That's Cody Ferrante. He's going to run up the middle. He's got some room. He's got a couple of blockers. Cuts to his left. Breaks a couple of tackles. Uses his speed. There he goes. Touchdown, Calaveras.
What a great way to start the homecoming game, to get the crowd into it immediately.
What a play. The first time he touches the ball, he takes it to the house for 6 points.